Solomon Northup was an American musician and writer, and he was born in Minerva in 1807. In 1841 he was kidnapped and enslaved, despite he was a free man. 12 Years a Slave is an autobiography written by Solomon in the same year of his liberation. He wrote a detailed report about his life before and during the period of slavery. Solomon had a wife and 3 children, and they lived in Saratoga Springs. One day Solomon was walking around the city and met 2 men who offered him a job as a violinist, and he accepted it. On the way to Washington, something went wrong. The men dragged Solomon, and when he woke up he realized he was in chains in a cell. Through a bunch of blows, they forced him to say he was a slave who escaped from Georgia. From that moment the suffering began. Solomon was put in a brigantine bound for Louisiana, and his name changed from Solomon into Platt. On board he organized a mutiny with another kidnapped man, but unfortunately the latter died because of smallpox. Solomon contracted smallpox too, but he managed to survive. Once the brigantine arrived at the banks of the Red River in Louisiana, Solomon was sold to a broker named William Ford. He was a good man who practiced slavery just because of his education, but he respected his slaves. Then he became slave of John M. Thibault, a cruel man who got drunk and tortured his slaves just for fun. One day Solomon, exasperated with Thibault's whips, beat him, and Thibault was about to hang him. A fool man reminded him that Solomon was a guarantee for a debt with Ford, and Solomon saved himself. However, Thibault tried to kill him again, and Solomon escaped. When he came back, he was sold to another grower, Edwin Epps. Epps was the cruelest owner Solomon ever had, and he spent 10 years with him. A beautiful girl named Patsy worked in Epps' plantation, but unfortunately she was raped by the owner and whipped at the behest of his wife, who was jealous of her. Solomon knew Samuel Bess, an abolitionist carpenter from Canada. Bess wrote some letters on behalf of Solomon to Cephas Parker and William Perry, shopkeepers of Saratoga Springs and friends of Northup. The lawyer Henry B. Northup, a relative of the former owner of Solomon's father, traveled to Louisiana and met Bess, asking if he had written the letters on behalf of Solomon and where he was. That's how they found Solomon. Solomon Northup, who rejoined his family on January 21st, 18. In the film, shown in 2013 by Steve McQueen, we find few differences that did not change the outcome of the director's goal: to convey the determination and emotions of Solomon. The stopover in New York of Solomon and his kidnappers before arriving in Washington is not mentioned. During the scene when they force Solomon to claim to be a runaway slave from Georgia, there is only one jailer, while there are 2 in the book. We find a change in the scene of the mutiny on the brigantine. The plan failed because an ally of Solomon dies because of smallpox, while in the film a member of the crew killed him because he was trying to impede the rape of a woman. The film does not mention the sailor John Manning, who accepted Solomon's request for help by writing a letter to Henry Northup, but he did not know the destination of the brigantine, so he could do nothing. The passage in which Solomon became ill with smallpox and risked death was also removed. The film does not show the scene where Solomon was sent to Ford's brother-in-law's plantation for a month, and when he came back, Thibault tried to kill him again. Solomon escaped to the marsh, and on his return, Thibault lent him for 5 weeks to a man named Eldred. Unfortunately, the brutal whipping to poor Patsy really happened, while the conversation between her and Solomon is not clear, in which she begs him to kill her and make her body disappear. In fact, it is Epps' wife who asks Solomon to kill Patsy. Finally, Solomon told it was the lawyer Henry Northup to reach him in Louisiana, while in the film it is Cephas Parker. Undoubtedly, one of the main themes that his work deals with is slavery. The aim of Solomon was to depict a true picture of this phenomenon that went against the idyllic picture portrayed by slavers. In the cinematographic transposition, we can observe, through the eyes of the actor who plays the protagonist, the bewilderment and the desperate desire to survive and freedom. This leads the viewer to identify him or herself with the character and feel repulsion towards slavery and the cruelty of men. Solomon's autobiography, written 9 years before the US Civil War, will be an important piece that will lead to the abolition of this crime. It tells how big the problem of racism was, and it leads us to reflect on how much it is still relevant. The supremacy of the white man, a superior being who condemns men and women of other ethnic groups only for the color of their skin, not being considered human beings but all objects to buy, sell, and sell again. The deprivation of anything, of one's rights, dignity, and freedom. In the book, Solomon tells of a woman with her 2 children. At the time of sale, the slaver could not, or did not want to, buy her children because he had no money enough. Solomon has always been there for this woman, even when she let herself die from sadness. This work should be read to remember what happened many years ago, and to remember these people and what they suffered, and to remember how men can be cruel in front of suffering. One of the director's aims was this, to not forget. In the film there are many violent scenes, from whippings to beatings, and for this reason it is a film that reaches the heart and immediately after the soul. The film was nominated for 3 Academy Awards and won in the categories Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film, and the actress Lupita Nyong'o won the Oscar for the Best Supporting Actress. I chose to talk about this work because after I have watched the film, I wanted to know more about the story, so I read the book. I thought if it could be right to describe Solomon's story with the word original, but in the literal sense of the word. He told his story and its vicissitudes, and I thought about how unlucky and lucky at the same time this man was, because people he met, but also people we do not know they existed, did not make it. He had the chance to re-embrace his family and had the courage to give testimony and somehow to denounce what was normal at that time, or is not normal at all. I thought it was original because it was his life and he had and still has value as the life of any other human being. I thought about how much we nowadays take freedom for granted, freedom to choose for ourselves, freedom of speech, to move, to live life as we want. We take family for granted and how much we care about our loved ones. We condemn our routine, study, work, without rights being recognized. This is what the book has been able to evoke in me, more than the film could have done, because when we watch a film, we only see what the director imagined, while when reading a book, everyone has a different perceptions and sensations and imagines different things, from the faces to the gestures and the places. By reading the words of Solomon, I saw that the dignity he said he had lost, but above all I found the hope that never abandoned him.